Hello everybody and welcome to our Thursday Q&A live session where I jump in here and answer any of your questions with my little friend Junior here about your pregnancy, labor, birth preparation. Perhaps you have some questions about your newborn or your baby, whether that's something that you want to discuss about introducing solids or what to do if your baby chokes, how to help your baby sleep, whatever that might look like. I am your midwife and I will be here for the next 20 minutes, let's say. Happy to answer any of your questions. Any questions that I can't answer as well. Often I will go to my brains trust, so talk to my obstetrician colleagues, GP colleagues, women's health physio colleagues, so that we are able to get the answers for you. Because if it's something that you're feeling worried about, it's likely that it's something someone else is feeling worried about as well. Now, please remember these sessions are for everyone, for mums and dads. So if you have a question that your partner would like to ask or have me answer, I realize that 10 o'clock in the morning might not be the most suitable time for everyone, but I do also jump on Instagram. So if it's easier for you to ask your questions in Instagram, I am more than happy to answer them there as well. But like always, I love when you say hello and let me know where you're watching from, either if you're currently pregnant or you've got a little bubba. Please say hello. It is helpful for me so that I'm not feeling like such a goose just sitting here in the studio with my little friend. We have already had quite a few questions coming through on Instagram, so I will also do my best to answer those. Some of those might be later tonight, but please pop your questions here. I answer them in order as quickly as they come up. So I will get into it and do my very best. Shelley is our first question. Hello and good morning, Shelley. Shelley has said, hi Edwina, how long does it take for a 9-month-old to learn to self-settle? Shush pat doesn't work now that she's standing in her cot. Yeah, Shelley, that is an awesome question. And I realize this is not that helpful to you, but I want to just answer this to everybody else who's watching. In terms of sleep and helping your babies learn to sleep, it is a really great thing to be able to have a baby that can go to sleep on their own. And what I mean by that, and I really want to advocate here and say, I feel like sleep is a very topical area and very political, and lots of people have lots of opinions about it. My strategy and my approach with sleep is about giving you a whole lot of skills and then working out what works for you and your family. There's no right or wrong, okay? Like all things, like how you birth your baby, how you feed your baby, how you swaddle your baby. There's no right or wrong, but you still need support and you still need to know how to do it. So what Shelley is referring to is self-settling. That's not crying it out. That's not leaving your baby to cry, okay? And I think it gets confused, and so it needs to be really clearly said. But it's about teaching your baby to go to sleep without you needing to either feed or rock or hold your baby to sleep. What I will say, 0 to 12 weeks, so your newborn, your 4th trimester, none of those, absolutely fine to be doing all of those things. You're not going to create bad habits and you're not going to spoil a newborn, okay? I just want to put that out there. However, after about 12 weeks, it is a good idea to be able to have some skills and understand how to help your baby to sleep. So to go back to Shelley's question. So Shelley has a 9-month-old who's now able to pull themselves up in the cot. So again, I educate people doing our sleep course with different styles of self-settling, teaching your baby how to self-settle and how to do it softly but efficiently, okay? You don't want to be doing things that are lasting weeks and weeks. A lot of women who are doing our course, and a lot of dads as well, are noticing that within 2 to 3 days, their babies are learning to be able to self-settle. That's not leaving them to cry it out. It's using different methods like space soothing, shush pat, and different things that we can teach you in the course. But what Shelley's saying is that how long does it take for a 9-month-old to learn to self-settle? And again, there's not like an exact time frame, Shelley, but I always say if you commit and be really consistent with whatever style you choose, if you can commit to that for at least 3 days, you will see some wins in those 3 days. It might not be every sleep and it might not be super consistent, but you will see some wins. And that is a really good thing. However, when they're 9 months old, you can't, so the shush pat is where you go in and you just say shh, 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 and you're patting the baby, not to sleep, but to settle them so that they know that they're happy and they're secure, and then you're letting them go to sleep on their own. That is what we're talking about with learning how to self-settle, which just means going to sleep without you putting them to sleep. The challenge is that if you need to put them to sleep for every sleep, and then they wake up after a normal sleep cycle, they're going to call out to you to come in and put them back to sleep again. So we as adults, we self-settle, we wake during the night, like I woke at midnight last night, and I lay there and took a few deep breaths to go back to sleep because I have lots on my mind, so my mind was racing. But it's the same for babies. They learn how to go back to sleep because our normal human sleep has lots of awake periods in it. What you don't want to be doing is every hour or two having to go back in and settle your baby to sleep. That's why I teach you as parents how to teach your baby to self-settle. I hope that makes sense. But shush pat, particularly for a 9-month-old, may not work because they're able to pull themselves up. So Shelley, what I would say, really consistently, every sleep, really committing to your choice and what you're going to be doing, and then going back in, picking her up and just lying her back down on her side and really firmly putting your hand on her bottom and then doing shush pat. Again, it might be lie down, sleep time now, and having to physically sort of lie her back down in her cot. And it does get a little bit harder when they're 9 months of age. You may want to look at using our spaced soothing, which definitely works better when babies are over 6 months of age. So if anyone's watching and they've got a baby between 3 and 6 months of age, shush pat works really well. I would use it now and teach your baby how to self-settle now. If you want some support with that, we've got really, really accessible programs that teach you exactly what to do for the age of your baby. Shelley, for you, I would get you to come and sign up for the 6 to 12 month package where we show you how to do spaced soothing. So as I said, 3 days, you'll see some wins, usually, okay? I'm speaking as a general guide. If you can commit to it for at least a week, you will definitely start to see the differences in her sleep. And I'd be using the spaced soothing rather than the shush pat, or just lying her back down and saying, time for sleep now, time for sleep now. But at 9 months old, I do notice that shush pat is more challenging. I would recommend the spaced soothing. That was a really long answer. Sorry, everyone. I just think that that's probably helpful to so many of you who might be navigating the sleep space and trying to help you and your baby get a bit more sleep. Lindsay has said, baby is 5.5 months, waking 1 a.m., 2:30 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. to feed, just started solids. Is this normal for this age? Lindsay, again, there's no abnormal, do you know what I mean? That's normal for your baby and that's totally fine. If it's not okay for you, and I imagine that's pretty challenging, having to wake those 3 times, there are a few things that we could look at, Lindsay. I would be looking at, what does Bub's day sleep look like? Is Bub getting too much or not enough sleep in the day, which could be impacting the awake times? Is Bub learning to digest that food and maybe a bit gassy in the early hours in the morning? And again, that's totally normal. If they've just started solids, I would focus on the solids being at breakfast and lunch, as opposed to breakfast, lunch and dinner when you're first introducing. So to start with 2 meals a day. If Bub's really hungry and really wanting that 3rd meal, that's absolutely fine. But sometimes it can be the gas that's waking them up. It could also be with the changing temperature that it's getting a little bit cooler and Bub could be cool. If that wasn't normally what Bub was doing, waking for those feeds, so there's a change in their normal sleep at nighttime, I would also consider that Bub could be going through what we call a little sleep regression, which happens with certain leaps. So Bub might be learning to pull themselves up or roll or smile and giggle and laugh, and all of those things. They can also impact their sleep and mean that they're waking more frequently. They're a bit more fussy during the day. You might find that they're a little bit more difficult to put to sleep. If it is a regression, usually they will pass, but stay really consistent with how you're helping your baby to sleep. So rule out all of those things, Lindsay. Ideally, it will pass. But again, it's very common, particularly when, you know, it's a really new thing that bub is learning how to eat. So it's a big developmental stage, but it can wreak a bit of havoc with their sleep. Shelley has said 8 weeks of waking 5+ times. Yikes. Shelley, I don't know if you're part of the sleep program. If you're not, come and check it out, because we'll be able to definitely help you with that. I think at 9 months of age, you would expect not to be waking 5 times a night. And I know that that's probably super tough for you and super tough for her. I'm sure she's really tired during the day. Hello. Kayla has said, Kayla has a 4-week-old. Oh, congratulations, Kayla. Milk pimples, can I put cream on to get rid of them, or will they go away on their own? Kayla, if those milk pimples don't look red or infected or angry, just leave them, okay? I know that it can, you know, we call it baby acne or milk pimples, things like that. What's happening is a big shift of your hormones that your baby had on board at birth, and definitely as they're feeding. There's a big hormonal shift going on between you to your bub. So it will pass with time. But if they are looking really red and angry, you may need to put something on them. But again, if they're not looking infected or really angry, I'd just leave them. Even if they are looking a little bit red and angry, but you're not too concerned, just putting a little bit of breast milk on a cotton pad and dabbing that on them can help. Breast milk is like liquid gold, mums and dads, and you can absolutely, you know, put it on their skin, because it's antibacterial, it's antimicrobial, it's good for their skin, and it's good for their healing. So just putting a bit of breast milk on a cotton pad and dabbing it on the milk pimples works a treat. There we go. Haley, hello Haley. Haley has said, had second stretch and sweep, some minor pains and tightening, have lost mucus plug. Ooh, that's all sounding very exciting. Have lost mucus plug too. Chances of helping to go into labor. Okay, so Haley, like I am always saying to all of you, you can't rush labor, you can't control labor. It is about just surrendering to the process, giving into it. If we are stressed and we're trying to manage it and we're trying to rush it, often that's when we see labor won't start on its own. So what I want you to do is relax today, watch a good rom-com, watch a sad movie, get your partner to give you a nice massage, have some warm baths, put some clary sage oil in there, and just really focus on relaxing and preparing to meet your bubba. What we don't want you to be feeling is like stressed and yes, come on, let's tick this box. So all of those things, like really relax, and somebody's just calling. And stretch and sweep. So for everyone who's watching, that's when the midwife or the obstetrician does a vaginal examination, and it's usually once you're overdue. So remember, a normal pregnancy is from 37 to 42 weeks. So don't rush these things early. A lot of women, you know, like 40 weeks is what we consider due date, but remember, it is like a normal pregnancy can go up to 42 weeks, depending on what state or what country you live in. They will encourage you to have a induction of labor earlier than that, but again, it's just kind of like understanding what's your cycle like, were you sure of your dates, all of those things need to be factored in. So stretch and sweep is when you have a vaginal examination and the midwife puts 2 fingers into your vagina, and what we're doing is we're feeling into your vagina to see if we can feel your cervix. So your cervix is the long and closed part. It's about 2 to 3 centimeters long, and the cervix needs to shorten and dilate. It's the cervix that does the dilating that we talk about, and it needs to dilate to fully dilated for the baby's head to be able to pass and be birthed. So it's kind of like you need to be fully dilated before you start to push, which reminds me, I think I'm going to put the stages of labor poster back up, because we're getting lots of people inquiring about how to know when to go to hospital, you know, when's pushing, understanding all the stages of labor. If you haven't already done our birth course, and if you're watching this, please make sure that you come and do it. Don't go into birth feeling like you've just got to wing it or work it out on the day. That's hugely scary, and it's not the best way to have the best experience. So if all of this is completely foreign to you, please make sure that you come and join our birth course. We've got payment options, we've got $7 trials, we've made it really, really easy for you all to join. So Hayley has had 2 stretch and sweeps, which is where we try and put our fingers inside the cervix and help the cervix to open. So stretch is that stretching of the cervix, and the sweep is to try and encourage you to go into labor by opening the cervix. Manually we're doing it. So it's a soft form of induction. So really for you, Hayley, relax, don't rush it. Don't feel like we can control it. Do everything you can to increase your oxytocin. So whether that's a bit of nipple stimulation, a nice massage with your partner, whatever feels good for you. Oxytocin is the hormone of love. And we want to be able to produce lots of oxytocin, because the oxytocin is what helps the uterus to contract, which is going to put you into labor. So just try and relax, do everything that you can in terms of increasing your oxytocin. I always have women sort of say, it's the theory behind having sex to help bring on labor that helps increase the oxytocin. But if you're not really feeling like sex, and let's be honest, at 40 weeks pregnant, you might not be feeling, particularly sexy or like you want to be intimate, but just looking at other ways. There's other ways to be intimate: a foot rub, a massage, a cuddle on the couch, going out for a coffee, going for a walk, holding hands. All of those things, Hayley, are going to help you. And again, just surrender to the process and know that it will come in its own time. Kelly has said, hi Ed, my 13-week-old has decided wants to wake every 1.5 to 2 hours overnight for the last week. He used to only wake once for a feed. Kelly, okay, I imagine that's a huge shock to you. And what happens as well is that Bub in that first 12 weeks has all those really good sleepy melatonin hormones that you produce, you've also given to Bub. And they're starting to wear off, and Bub's starting to work out their own sleep cycles. So they might need a little bit of help. Kelly, I would strongly recommend that you come and join our program. Join the 3 to 6 month. We teach you how to set up the ultimate sleep environment so that Bub is, more likely to sleep for longer and not waking during sleeps, but also how to help Bub to not only go to sleep, but what we call resettle, which is go back to sleep. It's, it would take me about an hour to cover everything that you need to be doing, but definitely you need help and support in this space. It's not something that you should feel like you have to navigate on your own. In terms of our health, and particularly our own mental health, and this is why I'm so passionate about this, because Theo was exactly that. He would wake even more frequently, and he did until he was about 4 months old. And I just wished I had have had someone like me who said, hey, it doesn't have to be that way. Here's what you can do to help with their sleep. And when I was able to get Theo to sleep more, again, hugely life-changing to me and to my family, because I felt stressed and anxious and exhausted all of the time because I wasn't getting enough sleep. So it is why I'm hugely passionate about it, and I want you to know that that isn't the way that it needs to be, Kelly. You need more sleep as well, so does Bub. So we'll be able to help you with that. Sarah said, any tips on how to get my 8-month-old to eat more solids? She doesn't eat a lot. How much should she be eating? She often will have a few mouthfuls and then turns away and won't have any more. She is formula fed. Sarah, can I ask, are you still offering a milk feed before the solid feed? Because I would encourage you to try starting to switch that around. So in the morning when Bub wakes up, rather than offering a bottle, so if Bub's formula fed, rather than offering a bottle, and if anyone else is watching, rather than offering the breast, if you're trying to get Bub to eat a little bit more, have a bit more appetite, try offering breakfast before the milk feed. Often what can happen is that they fill up on the milk feed and they're really just not that hungry, or increasing the gaps between when Bub, like if you are going to do the milk feed first thing, giving it an hour or so before you offer breakfast so that they are hungry. But I'd try, let me know, Sarah, actually, if you're watching that. If you're watching still, let me know if you're giving the milk feed first. Holy smokes, questions are coming in today, you lovely mums. Lindsay said, thanks Edwina, we're in leap 5, so that could be affecting sleep. I would say so. And Lindsay, with the leaps, the really interesting thing there is try and identify what you think Bub has learnt recently. So if you can see what it is and let them practice it lots and lots during the day, so that they're not waking at 1:30 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Thinking, oh, let's practice rolling, or let's practice pulling up, or let's practice a giggle. Let them do that during the day in their awake time, and it's almost like running a training camp. Let them do it, so that then when it's sleep time, it can help them to link their sleep. So let them practice their new skills lots during the day and give them lots and lots of reinforcement. Yep, Sarah's doing solids first, but still wakes 1 to 2 times night for a feed. Okay, yep. Brilliant. My gosh, that was such a good power session. Now, guys, I need to be jumping into the online program Q&A and answering all the questions for all of the members who are doing our online program. So if you are not already, come and look at birthbeat.com. You can see that we've got our childbirth program, our baby and child first aid, and our sleep and settle programs. There's been a lot of questions here today about sleep and settle. Please don't feel like you've just got to be struggling and surviving at home on your own. It's hugely accessible. You can do it at your own pace. You get my support. I'll hold your hand. You get to watch the really easy to understand videos. I highly recommend, don't suffer at home in silence. Don't be thinking that this is the way it has to be. There is so much support out there for you. Let me help you. Come and join our community. Please make sure that you share this page with many of your friends and family. That is the way that we continue to serve more women and their families. I will talk to you all soon. Bye.